Affordable housing is defined as housing that is accessible to people with a household income at or below the median and does not require them to spend an excessive portion of their income on rent or a mortgage. The specific definition and measurement can vary depending on the country or context. The common benchmark is for housing costs to not exceed 30% of a household's gross income. Benefits of affordable housing. Addressing the affordable housing shortage benefits both individuals and the wider community. Economic growth and stability. With affordable housing, residents have more disposable income to spend on other goods and services, stimulating local businesses and the economy. Construction of affordable housing also creates jobs. Talent attraction and retention. The availability of affordable housing helps attract and retain a diverse talent pool, including younger workers and those in essential service jobs. Improved health and well-being. Stable, quality housing is linked to better physical and mental health outcomes, lower stress levels, and a stronger sense of security. Enhanced educational outcomes. Housing stability reduces disruptions in schooling for children, which can lead to better educational results. Reduced inequality and homelessness. Affordable housing helps reduce economic inequality by providing access to quality housing for lower-income households. It also reduces homelessness and the associated burdens on public resources. Challenges to providing affordable housing. Several factors combine to create a widespread lack of affordable housing. High costs. Rising land, construction, and material costs significantly increase the price of new housing. Restrictive regulations. Local zoning and land use policies can limit the construction of higher density and multifamily housing, which tends to be more affordable. Community opposition, known as not in my backyard resistance from some communities, can block affordable housing developments due to misconceptions and stigma. Insufficient funding. Government assistance programs often face limited funding, leaving many eligible households without help and causing long waiting lists. Wage stagnation. In many places, wages for low and middle-income workers have not kept pace with skyrocketing housing costs. Solutions and strategies. Governments, developers, and nonprofits are using a combination of strategies to increase the supply of affordable housing. Innovative construction, prefabricated and modular construction, as well as 3D printed homes, can reduce building time, waste, and labor costs. Using locally sourced and recycled building materials is another cost-saving option. Public-private partnerships, PPPs. Collaboration between government agencies and private developers can help pool resources, share risks, and expedite affordable housing projects. Adaptive reuse, converting vacant or underutilized buildings, such as old warehouses or offices, into residential units is a cost-effective and sustainable solution. Zoning reforms. Governments can revise zoning laws to allow for higher density housing, such as accessory dwelling units, ADUs, and mixed-use developments, and reduce or eliminate costly parking requirements. Financial incentives and subsidies. Measures such as low-interest loans, tax credits, like the low-income housing tax credit, and housing vouchers can encourage development and assist low and moderate-income households. Targeted planning. Investing in infrastructure and encouraging development near public transit can lower overall living costs by reducing transportation expenses for residents. Community land trusts, CLTs. These nonprofit organizations hold land in a trust to ensure homes remain permanently affordable, with residents owning the home but not the land it sits on. Affordable housing is housing which is deemed affordable to those with a household income at or below the median, as rated by the national government or a local government by a recognized housing affordability index. Most of the literature on affordable housing refers to mortgages and a number of forms that exist along a continuum, from emergency homeless shelters, to transitional housing, to non-market rental, also known as social or subsidized housing, to formal and informal rental, indigenous housing, and ending with affordable home ownership. Demand for affordable housing is generally associated with a decrease in housing affordability, such as rent increases, in addition to increased homelessness. Housing choice is a response to a complex set of economic, social, and psychological impulses. For example, some households may choose to spend more on housing because they feel they can afford to, while others may not have a choice. Increases in any housing supply, whether affordable housing or market-rate housing, leads to increased housing affordability across all segments of the housing markets. There are several means of defining and measuring affordable housing. The definition and measurement may change in different nations, cities, or for specific policy goals. Definitions. The definition of affordable housing may change depending on the country and context. For example, in Australia, the National Affordable Housing Summit Group developed their definition of affordable housing as housing that is reasonably adequate in standard and location for lower or middle income households and does not cost so much that a household is unlikely to be able to meet other basic needs on a sustainable basis. Affordable housing in the United Kingdom includes social rented and intermediate housing, provided to specified eligible households whose needs are not met by the market. In some contexts, affordable housing may only mean subsidized or public housing, whereas in other cases it may include naturally occurring affordable housing or affordable by different incomes levels from no-income households to moderate-income but cost-burdened households. As the world's population continues to increase, expected to reach 9 billion by mid-century, more and more people are inhabiting cities for the benefits of industrialization. Those benefits include employment opportunities and better living conditions with access to infrastructure, education, healthcare, and recreation. This process is referred to as urbanization. World Bank reports that by 2050 nearly 7 of 10 people in the world will live in cities. This kind of growth, however, brings challenges to urban development as cities are tasked with efficiently using resources in accordance with the global demand for affordable housing. The majority of the more than 8 billion people on Earth now live in urban areas. There are more than 500 city regions of more than 1 million inhabitants in the world. Cities become megacities, become megalopolitan city regions, and even galaxies of more than 60 million inhabitants. The Yangtze Delta Greater Shanghai region now surpasses 80 million. Tokyo, Yokohama adjacent to Osaka, Kobe, Kyoto have a combined population of 100 million. Rapid population growth leads to increased need for affordable housing in many cities. The availability of affordable housing in proximity of mass transit and linked to job distribution has become severely imbalanced in this period of rapid regional urbanization and growing density convergence. Different countries and cities throughout the world have found unique ways to respond to the need for affordable housing. In some provinces within China, for example, local governments have instituted tradable land quotas. These quotas allow developers to construct new housing units at the outer bounds of the city limits, and, in return, land outside of the city is protected from development. On the other hand, in Los Angeles, the city government recently instituted legislation that allows motels to be transformed into affordable housing units, regardless of zoning regulations. In Brussels, an architectural firm was able to repurpose a soap factory, creating affordable housing units that included 1 to 6 bedroom apartments, studios, lofts, and duplexes. These residential units are also energy efficient, so have both social and environmental benefit. While innovative building practices have been incredibly successful in countries such as Nigeria and India, cities in more developed countries have found unique ways to increase affordable housing in dense urban areas through partnerships with private developers. For example, in Germany, cities including Berlin and Hamburg have established partnerships with private developers to construct new affordable housing units. In a 2011 agreement, developers in Hamburg agreed to build 3,500 new housing units per year, and 30% of these units would only be available to low and middle income households. To support the developers' work, Hamburg's city government agreed to provide city-owned land and acquire privately owned land on which the units would be constructed. Additionally, Hamburg modified urban planning regulations in locations occupied predominantly by low-income individuals to simplify the process of affordable housing construction. On the other hand, in Berlin, the Alliance for Housing Construction, which was established in 2014, brought together Berlin's local government, private landlords, and public utility landlords to make rental units in the city more affordable. Public utility landlords such as non-profit organizations agreed to build 3,000 new dwellings each year. Between 300 and 1,000 of these units would be provided as non-serviced rents. Additionally, private landlords agreed to construct 6,000 units each year, and between 600 and 1,200 of these units would be provided as non-serviced rents. Thank you for watching this video.